Hey guys, in this video I'm going to give you a bunch of updates on what's happening, what's been going on. I'm glad you're here. If you're curious to see where things are going in the next 60 to 90 days, stay tuned. This is something you're going to want to hear. Okay guys, what is going on? I've had a couple of videos recently where I've talked about a lot of changes, a lot of things behind the scenes, and this is going to be a continuation of that, and hopefully probably the end of that. I don't think there are any big surprises coming up in the future. I certainly hope not. But we've had some really good things happen here over the course of the summer through the fall, and here we are nearing the end of fourth quarter. It's been an exciting roller coaster of a time for me. As I said in an earlier video, I bought a house this summer and actually ended up moving twice. There were some timing issues, and that certainly had a pretty big impact on my ability to create videos and post them, get them online, get them uploaded. The one thing I had not mentioned though is the fact that we were expecting an addition to the family. Well, that addition arrived a few days ago in the form of a 7-pound, 12-ounce baby boy. So that kind of is why I'm sitting here in the kitchen. I have been told that I must be quiet. Apparently, this child has superhuman hearing abilities. But I have been told that if I wake the child up, I will die a slow and painful death. So I am sitting here in the kitchen this morning since my office has been commandeered and wrestled away from me and is being used for other purposes, which you can probably figure out if you have children of your own. But in any case, again, end of my excuses. Just wanted to let you know what was going on. I don't expect any more children to arrive. Certainly not in the next 6 to 12 months, hopefully. And I'm pretty much back to a point where I can focus on what I enjoy doing, which is training people and teaching you how to be successful online. With that said, the content here that I want to deliver in this video is really simple, and it's content that I have discussed several times on this channel. But I keep coming back to it because I keep getting the same questions, and so what I'm doing, every time I address this issue, I try to come at it from a different angle. Different people hear things in different ways, and I'm trying to keep my information accurate and on point, but I'm trying to say it in different ways, so hopefully everyone can kind of benefit from it in the long run. And the question that I've been getting a lot over the last couple of months, as we've announced the Amazon course that we have coming out, the updated Amazon course that we have coming out in the first of the year, the question I've been getting a lot, again, goes back to, well, how quick can I buy a Ferrari? How quick can I quit my job? And how much money do I need to have in order to start? And, just to say it as simply as possible, if you're looking at Amazon as being some type of magic pill that you take that is going to just overnight change your life, you're probably going to be disappointed. And I don't want to downplay it. Trust me, Amazon can change your life very, very rapidly. But I think some people come into the whole process with an expectation that they're going to see just massive results in the first 2 weeks or in the first month. And again, I don't want to say that's impossible, but it's highly unlikely. It really depends on how quick you grasp certain key concepts about doing business on Amazon in particular, and about how to do business online in general. And it also depends greatly on how much money you start with. If you start with a big old pile of cash, you can make a big old pile of cash a lot sooner than if you're starting off with just a couple of $1,000s or so. It takes time to grow your funding, it takes time to grow your business, but if you can start off at a higher level, you will reach an even higher level that much sooner. But one of the things that concerns me, and I want to take a second here just to point it out, is that I see a lot of people online who are really interested in selling their course, and their response to the question about how much does it take to start on Amazon keeps getting smaller and smaller. I've actually have seen people here in the last 60 days tell prospective students that once they buy the course, they can start on Amazon for maybe $250 to $400. And I'm not saying you couldn't do that, but it's a question about what do you mean by starting. If you are starting off with a few $100s, one, you're going to be selling keychains. You're not going to be able to get any product of any real value for that little bit of money. You're probably going to be hampered by supply issues from day one, because assuming that whatever it is you're selling actually sells successfully, you're constantly going to be in a wait mode, waiting for your funding to come in so you can do a reorder. It's going to be a really bumpy road, and it's not one that I think people are going to enjoy a whole lot if it goes well at all. But when you're trying to start off with that small amount of money, there's so many things that can happen that really amount to luck or bad luck that can just derail you completely. I want to say this to anyone out there who's looking to start on Amazon, whether you're my student or someone else's student. Do not make the mistake that really the majority of small business owners make, which is to go into this endeavor underfunded. Most brick and mortar stores go out of business in the first year, not because they are being run badly, not because they don't offer services or merchandise that people want to buy. They go out of business because they're underfunded. There's nothing different about doing business online. If you are not prepared to absorb the shocks, if you will, within the cash flow part of your business, if you can absorb the time it takes Amazon to pay you before you reorder, you're going to have a lot of issues. So, I would certainly advise you to save up additional money before you actually start selling on Amazon, because if not, you could fail where otherwise success might have been something that you would have enjoyed. You may fail and feel like it's something that, well, I just can't do business on Amazon. This is all something I won't know part of. And you move on to something else that's likely to be even less successful, and you missed a great opportunity. So I want to see people that I work with make the most of their opportunity, and the best way to start that is to start off with enough money to certainly support one product, and have a product that when it sells will actually provide you with a meaningful amount of profits. So just keep that in mind. Think about it. I'm sure that we'll do other videos about it in the future, but just absorb that and think about it. As a general rule, I advise my students to have about $5,000 available to them, and what that does is that gives you $1,500 to $2,000 to order your product initially and get it stateside. That gives you several $100s that you can spend, let's say $500 to get your product launched, to do promotions on that product, to run ads, and then you've got, that leaves you, if you're doing your math, that leaves you another $2,000 or so to do a replenishment order at some point before you get paid by Amazon, if in fact your product starts to sell really well. This will keep your product on Amazon as opposed to having it drop off of Amazon, or putting you in a situation where you have to suspend that listing for a period of time waiting for new inventory to come in. Ideally, once you put a product up on Amazon, if it's selling, you want to keep it selling, you want to keep it in stock. So, keep that in mind. Certainly, again, you can do it with less, but you'll have a much higher percentage or odds of success if you start off with about $5,000, and even more is better. But I think $5,000 is a reasonable amount of money to start with if you want to launch with one product. The other thing I want to cover is just this question about, how soon can I quit my job? How soon can I buy a Lambo? So on and so forth. It all depends. It really all depends. If you're going into this and your only goal is to buy a Lamborghini, you could potentially jump into this if you're a quick learner, if you don't make a lot of rookie mistakes, if you take advantage of my tutelage and the community that I've built of successful Amazon sellers, if you listen to them, if you don't run off half-cocked, you may be in Lamborghini territory in 6 months or 9 months or a year. Again, it kind of depends on how much you started with as to how quickly you can make your pile of cash grow. But the results are possible. You can generate a lot of money very quickly on Amazon if you really hit on all cylinders from day one. And some people do. It's a certain percentage of my students who they get it. They are all over it from day one. Their advertising is on point. They've got a good product. They promote it well, and it just takes off. And they just, success is just all they see, and that's great. Most people have some bumps in the road, so it's hard to predict what any one person is going to do versus any other one person. But the goal that I have for my students, and I talk about this within the Facebook group, and I talk about this, I guess I talk about this here on YouTube, is that I want to get you to $1 million in sales as quickly as possible. If you're starting off with $5,000 and you can reinvest your profits, you should hit $1 million in sales within the first 2 years. $1 million in sales at the profit margins that I tend to run will produce about $350,000 in actual profit. And that's a lot of money. You can buy your Lambo with that. Assuming you have decent credit, you can generate within the first couple of years a sizable down payment and finance the rest, or however you want to handle your personal car buying decision. But with an income of $350,000 a year, you have a lot of options available to you. That puts you firmly into the 1%, I think, or at least the 2%. You're making more money than almost anybody you're likely to encounter. So it can happen very quickly. But if you're looking to come in here with $5,000 and buy your Lamborghini in 60 days, that's not going to happen, because you're not even going to get paid by Amazon probably within 60 days. So set reasonable expectations. Don't take this as me being Mr. Negativity here. I'm not trying to talk you out of buying a Lamborghini. I just want you to set your expectations in terms of the time it takes you to hit that plateau, that success plateau. I want you to set those expectations more reasonably, because I think one of the biggest reasons people fall out of e-commerce is because they want to get rich quick, and whatever quick is to them isn't quick enough, and they end up dropping their endeavor and moving on to something else, the next shiny thing, the next new thing. And it's unfortunate, because I've seen people that were really on a path to success, and people that would have seen significant income if they had just given it another 6 months or another year. So don't quit too soon. Set reasonable expectations for yourself, and you're going to be happier. You're going to have a much lower level of frustration. And this is just experience talking. I just want to give you the benefit of my experience. That's really important. And lastly, kind of the flip side of the Lamborghini question is, how soon can I quit my job? Again, that depends on you. That depends on how unhappy you are currently. We've had some people that were really almost at the point of going in and shooting up the office. And some people have been able to quit their jobs very rapidly. It depends on how much money you need to live, what your bills are, what your overhead is on a personal level. Again, the longer you can leave your money in Amazon and continually reinvest into new products, the bigger that pile is going to get, and the faster it's going to get there. But I understand. I mean, things happen. We've had people that have come in, started working with us, and then they've lost their job through no fault of their own. They've had a company merger or a company closure. So leaving money in was not really an option. They had to replace that income. And yeah, it slows them down on that path to $1 million in sales. But again, it just depends on the individual as to how much they take out. but you know, I want to keep you ahead of the curve. I'd like to see you keep your Amazon account fully funded, keep products flowing in, and not pull money out to the extent that you're crippling your own efforts. It just doesn't make sense. The pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is there. I don't think, you know, 18 months to 2 years is an unreasonable amount of time to achieve what I have set as a goal for myself and for my students, which is $1 million in sales. That's where I want to take you as a student, is to your first $1 million in sales. And if you start off with a small amount of money and reinvest it, that can happen easily within 2 years. At that point, you're going to know the ins and outs, and you're going to have cash sitting in the bank that you can continue to scale your Amazon presence up. I've got students that are doing $10 million a year now, or you can just let it plateau. If you're happy with the level of income that, say, $1 million of consistent sales year over year offers you, by all means, you know, stay put, find a comfortable life, and just go from there. You've got to be kidding me. I don't know if you heard that right at the very end of that last segment, but my phone started ringing, and I don't know if it showed in my face, but I panicked, because I assure you, if you watch this video from the beginning to the end, you know what I'm talking about. But if that phone wakes anybody up, it will be my fault. I promise you, it would be my fault for sure. But anyway, I think we're wrapping it up. Appreciate you watching the video. More to come, a lot more to come. 2019 is going to be spectacular. Like I said, my big life events have already happened this year. I'm ending up fourth quarter strong. I went into fourth quarter with a little bit of concern because I was really not as prepared as I would normally want to be. I was rushing things. Again, like I've explained in previous videos, I had a lot going on this summer, and I did not have my products in place. At the time, I would usually have them in place, but they got here in time. My last shipments came in really about the first week of October, and you know, had a very, very successful fourth quarter so far. I don't know the exact figures yet, but it's on pace right now to finish out fourth quarter right around $1 million in sales. I think I'm going to beat $1 million. I guess I'll know probably by the end of next week. Usually around the 21st, 22nd, sales just go off a cliff. But if I stay, if my sales remain steady between now and the 22nd, I'm going to hit $1 million for the fourth quarter, and I'm pretty doggone excited about that. We'll know how the whole year looks, you know, first week in January. But I intend to hit the ground running in January and really gear up for 2019. I have some personal goals that I'll share in another video for 2019. I'll kind of put myself on notice in January, and you can hold me to it throughout the course of the year. But I really appreciate you watching. If you have not done so, please hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.